Hey folks, back with another video, and this video is all thanks to Amy Klobuchar. She dropped out of the race just a day before Super Tuesday, and that got me thinking about how many candidates have dropped from the race. And as a result, here's a short presentation of all the candidates that have dropped out in the Democratic Party since they announced their campaign. First on the list is Richard Ojeda, I believe is the name, who announced his campaign on November 11, 2018, but very quickly dropped out of the race on the January 25th in 2019. Very and there was no splash. The only thing known about him is he jumped in early and he jumped out early. That's all I got. That's all my comments on Richard. Next one is Eric Swalwell, I believe is pronounced. He announced his campaign on April 8th in 2019 and dropped on and he basically suspended his campaign on July 8th in 2019. As far as he's concerned, I heard about him, but just nothing else. Just that there was a candidate with this name. So he did not make any impression on me. I'm assuming he didn't also make any impression on the population at large. Next is Mike Gravel. Now he announced his exploratory committee on March 19, 2019, and then officially announced his campaign at April 2nd, 2019. But then he ended his campaign on August 6th, 2019. Again, I have no impression. I did not get any news on this guy. I mean, in general public, nobody was saying too much. Sure, there was some pocket somewhere. John Hickenlooper. Now he did make some splash. He announced his campaign on March 4th, 2019, and then ended his campaign on August 15, 2019. And he did. There was some. Let's just say I heard people make, let's say, some comments on it in a bit humorous way about when he suspended his campaign, about how, well, I'm just gonna leave it at that. People were making a bit juvenile jokes on Mr. Hickenlooper. And then we have Jay Inslee, I believe is his name. He announced his campaign on March 1st, 2019, but he dropped on August 21st, 2019. Again, I mean, this is one of those names that I went in when I was doing a bit of research on it, but was only found out that he was even there once I checked his name. So, I mean, with the other one, I kind of had some kind of like I heard their name somewhere, but this one I hadn't heard of him before this research. Seth Moulton, same with this person. I did not know before this that he even ran. So he announced on April 22nd, 2019, and then suspended his campaign on August 23rd, 2019. Nothing to say for Seth Moulton. I mean, there's nothing I can say about him. Um, there's nothing. Just next is Kristen Gillibrand, the one who definitely made a big. She was definitely in the news. There was well initially quite viable from she had some kind of thing going. She had a bit of how do we put it? The media did give her some coverage, so she announced her exploratory committee on January 15, 2019, and then officially announced her campaign on March 17, 2019. But on August 28, 2019, she suspended her campaign. And some people believe that she could have been a strong contender to Donald J. Trump. However, she didn't attract any enough of a base to make her actually viable. So she suspended her campaign. Next is, I believe he is Mayor Bill de Blasio, who announced his campaign on May 16, 2019. And on September 20th, 2019, he suspended his campaign. People do know about him, but again, it didn't get any traction from the public at large, so I think he made a good decision. Then we have Tim Ryan, and I have no idea who this guy is. Until today, I did not know. So, anyway, he announced his campaign on April 4th, 2019, and then he dropped on October 24th, 2019. Nothing much here to say. Oh, Beto O'Rourke, the media darling, the absolute media darling. The media loved him. So he announced his campaign on March 14, 2019. But on 1st November 2019, he announced the suspension of his campaign. So, Wayne Messam, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. So he announced his exploratory committee on March 13, 2019, and he officially announced his campaign on March 28, 2019. But November 19, 2019, he suspended his campaign. And he's again one of those candidates that I only know because I did this research. Then there is Joe Sestak, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He announced his campaign on June 23rd, 2019, and suspended his campaign on December 1st, 2019. Nothing is much known about him. I mean, like, generally the people didn't even know. I mean, I didn't know he was running until I did the research. Steve Bullock, he announced his campaign on May 14, 2019, but he suspended his campaign on December 2nd, 2019. Again, like the previous Tim Ryan, he was also another one of those candidates I did not know was running. There was not enough traction for him, so he dropped out. Oh, and of course, Kamala Harris, who announced her candidacy on January 21st, 2019. She was definitely on the news and on everyone's mind. but by December 3rd, 2019, it was clear that she could not continue, and so she suspended her campaign on December 3rd. And even her past record as being a prosecutor and having a seat at the Senate was not enough to, you know, attract much of a momentum for her. She did have a bit of a moment. She did had a surge, but it was, let's just say, somebody did a on the stage. How should I say it in the most nicest way? She wound up being entangled by another contender who's still running, also a person of color. And then we have Julian Castro. He announced his candidacy on January 12, 2019, and almost a year later, on January 2nd, 2020, he also suspended his campaign. On this, I would say that initially I thought that Julian did have some kind of a potential to run, but I always thought that there wasn't enough known about him, which I believed at the time that he that was to his advantage. But I think during his campaign, there was some kind of he could not break out of that, you know, thing about that people could say, okay, I know where he stands or he doesn't stand. Marianne Williamson. Now, she announced her exploratory committee November 15, 2018, and then on January 15, 2019, she officially announced her campaign, and then nearly a year later, on January 10, 2020, she suspended her campaign for presidency. Cory Booker. He announced his campaign on February 1st, 2019, and then suspended his campaign on January 13, 2020. Um, Cory Booker, I mean, his problem was that there was just something like, how can I put it? He never really connected with voters at large. He just was a limited issue person. He was not a broad issue person, and he was in these limited issues that were sort of niche and not even sort of like major issue. So I think that was probably what went against him. Then we have John Delaney, who announced his campaign. I believe he is the one who announced the run for presidency the first. From was July 28, 2017, and I think he's probably the longest running sort of longest running campaigner for presidency in this cycle. And he ended his campaign on January 31st to 2020. And now we are moving into Andrew Yang. He announced his campaign on November 6th, 2017, and then he ended his campaign on February 11, 2020. Again, one of those people who have had the longest running campaign so far. Then we have Michael Bennet, who there were some people who thought he would make it, but he didn't. He announced his campaign on May 2nd, 2019, and then he dropped on February 11, 2020. Tom Steyer, the billionaire. He announced his campaign on July 9, 2019, but then he suspended his campaign on February 29, 2020, after the recent um, South Carolina primary. Then we have Pete Buttigieg, who announced his campaign on April 14, 2019, and on March 1st, 2020, he suspended his campaign. And let's just say the lady, the reason why I made this whole presentation, Amy Klobuchar, who announced her candidacy on February 10, 2019, and dropped on March 2nd, 2020, just one day before Super Tuesday. Now, in the previous video, I had made the sort of a prediction that after Super Tuesday she'd be the first one to drop, as I believe that she was the one with the most sense to realize that she didn't have any momentum, but apparently she couldn't wait a day or two to go after Super Tuesday. She just went before Super Tuesday. And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Now, if you like my content, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video.